Good morning. Happy Spiritual Sunday to you all. Hope you had an amazing week. There we go. They threw something new at me. Fortunately, I had an amazing flash of insight. Something told me, go online and check the live stream. And as I did it, Facebook threw a whole new configuration into this. So I must admit, for a moment, I was a little bit flustered. And then I thought to myself, no, pause. It's all for the good. And let's see what happens. So I kind of navigated. They didn't make it overly complex for someone like me. And they just put the comments on the other side and a few other things. So, yes, good morning. It's nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Yes, great. Hello. Wow. Okay. So, as we've been doing, I have a thought from Karen's book, Simple Light. And it's a short one, but very powerful. She says like this: from a spiritual perspective, the words rich and poor are understood differently. To be poor means to lack light, and to be rich means to be endowed with much wisdom. Very simple, but very profound. Rich and poor have nothing to do on a spiritual level with money, with status, with fame and fortune. It simply has to do, the poor person is the one without light, the one who's lacking in it. So a person can have $1 billion and still be poor, poor in that they're lacking light. In whatever way, they've got too much ego, they've got too much pride, they think that they know it all, whatever it might be. Whereas a rich person is somebody who's constantly connected to the light of the Creator. And that's what you and I have the good fortune of being able to learn from the Kabbalah Center, from the teachings of the Rav and Karen Berg, back through the lineage, Rav Yehuda Tzvi Brenwein, Rav Yehuda Ashlag, and all the way back through Rabbi Isaac Luria, the Ari Kadosh, the Holy Lion of Sfat, all the way back to Rabbi Shimon himself. So here we are. Wow, so nice to see you. Yes. Hello from Paraguay. Hello from Hawaii. Hello from all over the country, South America. Uh-huh. Yes, Tim, I've been waiting also all week for this. Hello from Mexico. Yes, it's great to see you. Great to see you all. Okay. So, as we're always here doing, we want to change our consciousness to yet a higher level. We want to be a better version of ourselves by being inspired and uplifted by the wisdom of Kabbalah. And so, just to keep in mind, the repetition, the consistent awakening of a new consciousness and an awareness, as we're about to affirm that consciousness is everything, is what will allow us to look at the world differently. And then through the lesson, we're going to see the world a little differently. We're going to stand ourselves a little differently. And the more we have consciousness about how the world works, then the more we can take control over it. Right? Control not in a manipulative, negative way, but in that simple way of, I want to be in control of my destiny. We always have been. We just have been more unconscious about it than conscious. Also, let me remind you, please, help us reach other people. It's up to you. You can make the world different by just activating the light in the souls of other people. Just start a watch party. It's simple. I hope it's still the same. You hover over the share button. You look down the menu. It says start a watch party. And you start a watch party, which means then people who are connected to your Facebook page have a notice and they're able, if they would like, to join us in Spiritual Sunday. You never know who yesterday had an awakening or last night and they woke up this morning that they have to do something more spiritual or they have to find out about this thing, Kabbalah, that you've been telling them about or they've heard about or whatever it may be. So just simply let other people have the opportunity. Don't withhold. Let's not keep this a secret society of only us. Let's open it up to the world. because the more the world comes to gather in unity around this technology of the soul, then the faster we're going to see changes. And you and I can plainly see we need to change the world very fast. So at the end of today, after our meditation on the offering, I would like to take a few minutes just to do a meditation for the world. So keep that in mind. So let's say our affirmation together. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. And yes, some of you, I can hear you asking, we hope it won't be too much longer. We'll be able to have actually the aspect of the physical gathering in the Boca Center. So let's start with today. The Zohar says, very simply, a person is led in the direction that they want to go. Sounds simple, right? A person is led by the universe in the direction they want to go. So whichever direction a person wants to go, the universe, like a GPS, right? However we program our GPS, it's dispassionate, it's just automatic. It will just lead us in that direction. So if we happen to have put the wrong address in our GPS, it's going to lead us to the wrong address. If we put the right one, it's going to lead us to the right one. It doesn't decide what we should or shouldn't do. It simply follows our lead. And so too the Kabbalists in the Zohar explaining the same thing. In the path that a person wants to go, the universe will lead us. Now, of course, the question comes up, do you want to have chaos in your life? Do any of us want to have chaos in our life? Do we want to be on that emotional roller coaster, up and down? Today I feel good, then something happens, I feel bad, and it goes up and down and all around, and we end up with all this chaos. Well, I don't think any of us, for sure, want to be on that emotional roller coaster. None of us want to have those up and downs. We want to just have a good life, consistently happy, peaceful, loving, harmonious, etc. So then it seems like we're in contradiction to the Zohar, because we all want, and I think most of the people on earth just want a good life. But it doesn't look like everybody is being led in that direction, because all of us in one frame or another have some chaos, some difficulty, some blockages, some difficult situations, obstacles, etc. So now, why do we have that? What is the Zohar really telling us? So it goes back to its simplicity. We have to understand that the wisdom of Kabbalah, as complex as people have said it is, and in certain facets it can look very complex, but the true essence of Kabbalah is very simple, very simple. It says there are just two pathways. There's only two ways we can go in life. We can either go with the light or we can go with the opponent, with that negative, self-centered energy, what people have called Satan. And if you're new to this, Satan is an Aramaic word for the challenger, the opponent, the adversary. It doesn't mean the devil. It doesn't mean something outside of us. We talk about a spiritual parasite in our mind that's constantly influencing us, tempting us to act with selfishness, ego, fear, greed, insecurity, etc. So those are the two paths, the path of the light, the path of the opponent. That's all there is. Now, what's the difference? The path of the light is a path of fulfillment, joy, clarity, understanding, happiness, peace, serenity. The path of the opponent is the chaos, the ups and downs, all the negativity, the discord in the world, etc. So it seems obvious, right? Everyone should be picking the path of the light, but that's what we want to understand. Why is it that not everybody picks that? So let's start like this. I don't know if you've ever been to a carnival, but if you go to a carnival and you're walking through like the amusement area, right? They have different games, they have different things set up or whatever. And usually there are people, what they call hawkers. There are people outside going, come to my booth, try and knock down these balls, these pins, or come over here and take your chances at, shooting the basketball through the hoop or whatever it might be. So you're kind of being pulled in many directions because these things sound so fun. Oh, they make it sound fun, right? Come over here, win this great prize, over here, win this, etc. So how does that affect us in life? The path of the opponent is one of those voices. What's the path of the opponent? It's a very seductive voice. Because why? It tells us, if you want comfort now, if you want instant results, if you'd like to feel good this minute, right, then follow me. If you want to get out of the uncomfortable situation, follow my directions. So you think about it. Think of the last time you were in a challenge, the last time you were about to be reactive, upset, angry, hurt, resentful, sad, insecure, etc. Think about it. Recall the voice that was in your head, the voice of that spiritual parasite. What was it telling you? You better show them who's boss. Don't let them talk to you that way. Oh my goodness, right? What are you going to do? It's terrible. Oh no, fall down and cry, be upset, blame people, be angry, run away, quit the job, move away, whatever it is. That voice is very seductive because it taunts us with instant gratification. The moment we're reactive, boom, you feel good. You scream at that person, you curse that person, you run away from a situation, right? Even if you just falling down and crying, run away and cry. You've relieved yourself of that situation. Whatever the challenge was, whatever the difficulty was, whatever the conflict may have been, now you're relieved of it because you ran away crying. So you don't have to face it. You don't have to deal with it. So the power of the voice of that opponent, that one path, is instant gratification. Feel good right away, immediately. We'll see in a few minutes what happens after that. Well, what's the voice of the opponent? The other path, the voice of the light. The path of the light is the other one. What does it sound like? You know what? Don't blame them. It's not their fault. It's something about you. You have to be forgiving. Yes, they're a nasty person, but be more kind. Take the higher road. Make the greater effort. Exert yourself. Essentially, be uncomfortable. Don't give in. Don't give in to what you want to do now. Don't give in to the knee-jerk response. Right? You have to overcome that. You have to be a bigger person. Don't you want to be more spiritual? Well, this is the path. So if you think about it from those two voices, and I'm going to share with you this example, of course, which one would you choose? It sounds like, wow, if this is the easy path and this is the difficult path, most of us, which one do we want to take? But certainly in the moments we're being challenged, we want to take the easy path. Okay, but think about the same thing. The last time you were challenged, was not the voice of the light there also? You used to call it in the classes sometimes, we have those two voices in our head, the voice of the bad habit and the voice of the good habit. So the voice of the bad habit always sounds great. It's like you're on a diet and you're at a restaurant and you're having your salad, you're having your low-calorie food, whatever it is, and now the waiter going to another table happens to go by your table with that dessert cart. And you see on that cart, of course, your head turns immediately, sees your favorite dessert. So what's the voice in your head? The one voice in your head says, well, you've been really good. You've been on this diet for so long, 3-4 weeks already. It's okay. Go ahead. Have that piece of cake. Have that ice cream. It's not so bad. Right? That's the voice of the opponent, the bad habit. But then you have this other voice that's saying, no, no, no. Keep going. You've been so great. You've done so well. Have the fruit cup. Well, again, it doesn't sound as appetizing as the piece of cake or the ice cream. So I was thinking yesterday of this example. Person's in this, in a tunnel exploring a new area, and they see there's two tunnels, and we know there's a 100-foot tunnel to the right, a 100-foot tunnel to the left, and their flashlight just shines 20 feet. Right? So here's how the opponent works. Look at the tunnel of the opponent, the flashlight shining, and what does the person see? A gold coin, another foot, another gold coin, another foot, another gold coin, another foot, another gold coin. So they see all these gold coins down this tunnel, let's call it to the left. And they shine on the other one because they're still checking out which is the tunnel to go. And now they shine their 20-foot flashlight into this 100-foot tunnel, and they see on the right side, they see a bunch of rocks, they see pit holes, they see blockages, etc. Which would you choose? Which would you choose? Of course, we're all going to want the one, or it seems like we want the one that has the gold coins. The problem is that by only being able to see 20 feet out of 100 feet, we don't know what's past that. But this is how the opponent works. Take what you see in front of you now. Take the easy way now. Do the easy thing this moment, right? Push them out of your life. They made you feel uncomfortable, whether that means screaming, yelling, run away, whatever it may be, but get out of that situation and get back to that state that you were a minute ago, that you thought you were comfortable and everything was great, etc. The other path, you see the rocks, you see the difficulties, you see the challenges. So who wants to go down that path? But then we come to understand, and what you and I have the good fortune of learning here in the Kabbalah Center is to see the big picture. Because after those 20 feet, the path of the opponent, what do you see after those 20 feet? Then comes, for the rest of the 80 feet, then comes all the rocks, the challenges, the difficulties, etc. Why? Because we came here to emulate the Creator. We came here not for the easy way out, so to speak. We came to earn our eternal bliss. Because at the end of both those tunnels, there's eternal bliss. So if you want to look at it, they start here, you're looking at the two, they go out around, they go for 100 feet, and then they come back together. And at the end is eternal bliss. So the path of the opponent, the path of light, both, they'll lead us there. But the one of the opponent, like we said, in the beginning, it looks very tempting. We just don't see that after that comes all the discomfort, the challenges, the repetitive situations in our life, etc. Now you look down the tunnel of the light, sure, the first 20 feet looks a little difficult. You got to navigate, you got to be more conscious, you got to watch out, you got to forgive, you got to be uncomfortable in your transformational sharing. But after those 100 feet, now what do you see? After the 100 feet, then comes the eternal bliss. Then comes the happiness and joy. Then comes the serenity, the clarity, seeing how to navigate in life and feeling no matter what comes your way, you have that sense of stability. You have that sense of serenity. Why? Because the light is always with you. You've connected to that light. The path of the opponent, for the first 20 feet, sure, he taunts us with all those gifts in the beginning. And at the end, it's disconnect from the light and darkness. And so to speak, even if you've got that flashlight, right? But the flashlight isn't yet bright enough to see everything in that darkness. And so those are the two paths. But remember, at the end, they both lead to eternal bliss. So you and I are not here to make eternal bliss happen. That's not the point of the center. The point of the Kabbalah Center is to teach us to understand there are those two paths. And the end, yes, they'll both achieve what the Creator already gave us in the endless world, eternal bliss. But it's the process of life. Which path do you want to be on? That's the real key. That's the key. Do you want to go the easy way in the beginning, which is difficult for the long run until you achieve eternal bliss? Or do you want to go the one that in the beginning seems like a lot of effort, but then in the long run gets easier and easier? Because being more connected to light gives us a greater opportunity, greater sense of peace and harmony as we're dealing with challenges. It doesn't mean there's not going to be challenges, but there's a difference between a challenge that a person falls apart in and a challenge that a person like wakes up and gets up and going and feels greater strength and connection to the light of the Creator. There's a difference. One is more exciting and motivating, etc., and the other is very depressing. And remember, on each path, because there's 7.5 billion of us, we have different lanes. Like you go on the highway, you have these multi-lane highways, 4, 5, 6, 7 lanes, but it's still the same highway going the same place. So that's what we see, but it really boils down to only two pathways. Path of the light, which is the path we really want to go, but in the beginning it doesn't look so easy, or the path of the opponent, that in the beginning looks very easy, very simple, instant gratification, but down the line, problems. And we've all experienced that. Haven't you ever had something that you did, that you thought was the best, was good, you made the right decision, even when you were reactive and you got, felt good and great, but then sometime down the line, it all fell apart. We can all relate to that. And that's why we're here, because we've had those repetitive patterns. We've had things happen to us over and over and over again. And we see after 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, 100 times, this life, past life, at some point we wake up and say, no, I don't want to be on that path anymore. And that's what we want to learn today. How do we change paths? But I want us to see that the path of the opponent isn't dark all the time. It's not negative all the time. What is chaos? Chaos means that sometimes it looks good, sometimes it looks bad. It looks confusing. That's the path of the opponent. Think about it. What's the age-old question among good people? Why do good people suffer and bad people get away with things? It's confusing. People think if they just act good, it should be good. If they act badly, it should be bad. But chaos is when you can't quite see the true cause and effect. That's why you and I are learning how to see without just our physical eyes, but to see with our spiritual eyes by coming to understand the universal blueprint of creation, which is the Zohar. That's why it works for every person. It doesn't matter who we are. It doesn't matter what our religion, background, culture, color of our skin, even doesn't matter our previous belief systems. Doesn't mean it doesn't depend on what we thought we believed. Why do we say here, consciousness is everything? I want to raise my consciousness. I want to change my consciousness. I want to learn more of those system, the technology of the universe, the blueprint and the pattern that this world was created on, so I can navigate better. And if I find myself in that tunnel or that pathway of the opponent, I want to know how to get to the pathway of the light. And that we will get to. But I want to bring up another idea, that it doesn't always look bad. That voice of the opponent gives us ways and means. And even after we've reacted, and then we fall into the next pit hole, the next challenge comes our way, the opponent is right there again. Well, it's not really your fault. It's because now this other person did that thing. Or it's not really your fault. It's because they changed the rules, they changed the law, they changed the way we do things, whatever it is. So there's always a justification to keep things outside of ourselves instead of taking control and understanding it's all about us. The path of the opponent, where it's blame, it's looking outside of ourselves, it's about everybody else, if they'll change and they need to do, etc. No, the path of the light is, it's all about me. Am I shining the light? Am I not shining the light? Am I acting in a proactive way? Am I making a stronger connection to the light of the Creator, the light of my soul? That's the path of the light. Am I more unified? That's why this last week I wrote these posts. Some of you have seen them. Until we can see the light in the other person, how can we come to see more light in us? And as we see more light in us, we'll tend to see more light in the other person also. So I have to be the one who changes first, because it's about me. The Creator put in my soul all the light I would ever need. I just have to let it out. So it's up to me, not them. The opponent makes it's up to them, not me. If they'll change, they'll be nice, they'll give me my way, then I'll be happy. The other way. So I want to bring up a story in the Bible with some more Kabbalistic details to help us understand the way that you and I may be being caught up in the voice of the opponent. Because if you're here watching this, it's because you want a better life, you want to be more at peace, you want to have good things in your life, you want to bring yourself to that higher level and create more fulfillment. So it's not just bad people on the path of the opponent. So there's a story, if you remember the story in the Bible, of Moses going up Mount Sinai. And he goes up Mount Sinai, he says he's going up for 40 days and 40 nights, and he's coming down with what most people consider the 10 commandments, but you and I understand it's called the 10 utterances, but essentially he's coming down to manifest the energy of eternal bliss and immortality. That's what it's about. Now, He's up on the mountain, and then you kind of read, because those of you who are new, it's important to understand that the Kabbalists teach us that the Bible is historical fact. We believe, and you don't have to believe, but we believe that these people existed, these things happened, etc. But there's a much greater aspect to it. It's encoded with technology that you and I can use today in 2020 to make our lives better by understanding what they did well and what they did not so well, where they made their mistakes, they fell into the voice of the opponent, and that's what I want to bring up. So here it says Kabbalistically, and again, this you won't see in the surface story from the Bible, but what happened was there are two very negative people. We'll call them the voice of the opponent, as we were talking about. So they're evil, they want people to be selfish, they want what they want to the detriment of everybody else. They don't care about everyone else, they want what they want for their instant gratification. Now, what did they do? And this is where you and I come in, because you and I are good people, we have good intention, we want to make the world a better place, we want to love each other, we want to bring harmony, we want to get rid of the chaos, not only for ourselves, but for everyone on earth. So we have that good intention. We want to see people, right, happy and joyous, and we want to have a peaceful life. So these two very negative people, they went around the hundreds of thousands and millions of Israelites in the desert that Moses had led. They had seen miracles. They had seen the splitting of the Red Sea. They had seen manna from heaven. They had seen amazing things. They heard the voice of the Creator just before Moses went up Mount Sinai. So they're not just kind of common people, if you will. These are people who have experienced things that you and I would love to see. And of course, we're always telling ourselves, well, if I saw that, I'd never have a doubt, which is not true, because essentially we are these people that I'm now speaking about. So these two negative people go around the camps of Israel, and what are they doing? They start enticing people. You know what? Moses told us 40 days and 40 nights. He was a great leader. He led us through the desert. He led us through all these obstacles. He led us through the Red Sea, etc. But now, check your watch. It's 40 days and 40 nights, and he's not here. So let's ask his brother Aaron, the high priest, let's go ask him for another leader. Let him create another leader, appoint another leader, because we want a leader to guide us the rest of the way into the promised land. So it sounds really good. It doesn't sound negative. It doesn't sound bad, does it? No, we just need another leader. We want like another Moses. We were happy with Moses. Moses led us. He took us here on the verge of immortality. We're on the verge of eternal bliss. We've all come to a point of unity and oneness, etc. But he didn't come down yet. So maybe something happened on the mountain and we can't see. And these two negative people went around kind of seducing them quietly. Yes, we loved Moses. He was great, but he's not here now. So let's go to Aaron and let's get a new leader. And so what happened was those two people seduced hundreds of thousands of people to give in to their perspective, which starts at a root of self-centeredness, ego, right? Greed. And he seduced all these other people to go to Aaron. And what did they do? They went to Aaron and they said, look, we need another leader. Moses isn't coming down. We want another leader to take us the rest of the way to the promised land. And so we also learn from Aaron. What did Aaron do? He had good intent also. Like most of these people, they had good intent. They wanted to go to the promised land. They wanted to bring eternal bliss and immortality to the world. They were just being seduced by the wrong technology, let's call it, by these two very negative, self-centered people. So they come to Aaron, and Aaron's thinking, well, let me delay them a little bit, because I know Moses said he's coming down. Maybe he just needs a little more time, right? Because he's usually pretty good about that. So he says, you know what? Gather up some gold and we'll make a leader, right? We'll do something like that. So what do? He's figuring it's going to take them a while to go gather this gold. And in that meanwhile, Moses will come down and everything will be great. Well, what happened? The moment that voice of the opponent gets in our head, like we said, You're at dinner, you've been on a diet, been very good for weeks, and that dessert cart walks right by you. What does the voice of the opponent tell you? Get it now. Get it now. Don't even think about it. You've been good, eat. And most people, or often, will do the same thing. We'll just grab and eat. So Aaron is saying, in his mind, let's delay it. Let's take a little bit more time, right? And they said no. What happened was because the rabble rousers, those two evil people, got them so excited. We want it now. We want it now. We want it now. We want it now. That they just ran out and basically grabbed all the gold. It even says that they went to the women and they like literally pulled the earrings out of their ears. So they immediately brought to Aaron the gold. Now, what happened with Aaron? He didn't follow what you and I have been learning as Kabbalistic technology. He didn't pause. They came with him almost instantly with his gold. Here's the gold you wanted. Build us a new leader. And he didn't pause, as we call it, and he just took the gold from their hand. Meaning what? How does the opponent work on us? This is why I've called the opponent a spiritual parasite. What is this parasite? A physical parasite doesn't have any energy of its own. It gets hooked up to a host and it saps the energy from the host. Its life force comes from the host, not out of itself. So the same thing, these two evil people that wanted to bring negativity to the world, destruction to the world, so that they could have dominance, if you will, in the world. What did they do? They needed the power of Aaron. What was Aaron? He was elevated from just a regular member of the tribe of Levi. He was elevated to be the high priest. So obviously it's a sign of his power, the energy of the light force of the Creator, his closeness to the light force, the infinite light. So they knew they needed to draw energy like a parasite. They couldn't do it themselves. They could have, they just would have built this golden calf on their own. But they needed the light of Aaron. So they went to Aaron and basically he put his hands out and took that gold. And that's how they were able to draw the energy from Aaron to create what's called the golden calf. And what happened then? Sure, they immediately saw the golden calf. And this is another thing that you won't read in the 5 books of Moses, but if you read all the Kabbalistic explanations, this golden calf was not a statue. It was a live, living, conscious being. And basically it spoke prophecy. It could tell people about themselves and things, like dazzle them with things that they thought were unknown. So they had their instant gratification. Oh, great, here's another leader like Moses. Right? Moses was able to talk to God and bring us wisdom and guide us through all the problems, etc. And here now, we've given into this desire for instant gratification, started by those two evil people. Aaron allowed his energy to be used and create this new leader that immediately was showing fascinating things, almost like a psychic, could tell us about ourselves, could tell us about what we did here and there, etc., etc. So we fell right into it. Right away, immediately. But then we know what happened in the end. Remember the 80 feet of the tunnel? We saw the first 20 feet, gold coins, golden calf. Wow, instant gratification. And then came the destruction. When Moses did come down, the 2 tablets were destroyed and thousands of people died. Tens of thousands of people died. And most importantly for you and I, the power of immortality was transformed back into the power of mortality. Death and destruction and chaos came back in the world. Same way. Last time we gave into our reactive behavior, immediate gratification, and then somewhere down the line, it all fell apart. Back to the same thing. Back to the hurt, back to the fear, back to the anger, back to the insecurity. Something didn't work because that's the way it worked. Like a flashbulb. Flashbulb glows brightly for a second and then it goes dark. A light bulb, it may not glow as bright as that flash bulb, but it stays on long lasting. So my friends, this is our choice. This is the 2 choices we have. Listen to the voice of the opponent, listen to the voice of the light. Now, let's say we're already on the path of the opponent. We've been listening, etc. One, I want to help you realize, I had a discussion with somebody today, I hope she's watching, who's in Hong Kong. So this morning, as we were speaking, I had this revelation. Why is it so easy for us to react? Why is it so easy for us to give in to that voice of the opponent that tells us to react in a self-centered, or as we call it, desire to receive for oneself alone way? Why is it so easy? So, because the last time this similar situation showed up, what did we do? We reacted, and we got that instant gratification. So now comes our opportunity to fix, like in this case, to change our path. We're on the path of the opponent. We've been giving in to that reactive behavior. We want to go on the path of the light. We have to change, which means then there has to be that challenge. A similar challenge has to come to us, but this time we have to change and go in the proactive way. We have to go in the sharing way. We have to go in the way of the light, acting and emulating the light. So why is it so easy for the opponent to keep tempting us? Because the last thing we did in the last situation like this was reactive. We screamed, we yelled, we acted with greed, ego, fear, insecurity, jealousy, right? Sadness, insecurity, self judgment. And so that's why it's like the last thing we did, easy to do again. And this is why we learn from Kabbalah 1, pause. You got to stop. You want to change pathways? First thing you got to do is stop. Wherever you are, stop. Don't keep running down the tunnel of the opponent. Don't keep running down looking for those gold coins in the midst of all the problems. Stop. I want to move to the tunnel, the pathway of the light. And we can do it. We have the power. The light is everywhere. The light is always in existence. It's we who don't see it. So how do we change the paths? One is we're going to have to pause, because what does the Zohar say? Wherever a person desires to go, the universe will lead them. But we want to understand the difference between want and desire. Want is I just want. Everybody wants. Give me now. I want to win the lottery. I want to have this. I want to have that. Doesn't mean we're willing to do the work. Doesn't mean we have a true burning desire, strong yearning for something. So that's really what's going on. The Zohar says in the way that we really want up to this moment to go. So like we said, if a person 100 times previously has acted with fear or insecurity or anger or whatever it is, then essentially that's the way they want to go, even though it may not be what we think we want. But actions speak louder than words. And therefore, whatever actions we've been going through, that's what's going to continue. So if we want to go on the path of the light, yes, it's going to be uncomfortable because we have to change what we did the last time. So we've got to pause. We've got to think, no, what do I really want? Do I want to be on the path of the light, or I just want to keep doing the same thing over and over again? And that's not easy to do. But if you don't pause, it's impossible to do. Stop. Don't give in to the same thing you did the last time. Think, where's my desire? And that's why the Kabbalists write, at any moment, at any time, there's no limit. A person could be the most nasty person you know for the last 30 years. But that one day they wake up, they feel the pain of what they've been doing, and they want to be on the path of the light. Because the light is infinite, and it's always available. It's even available to that person. Now, obviously, they have so much of a spiritual debt of negativity. They got a lot of work to do to pay back all that darkness and turn it to light. But the moment they decide, with true burning desire and absolute certainty that the light is infinite and the light can help them move from the path of the darkness to the path of the light, then they can move. Because like the Zohar says, they'll be guided in that direction. Now, for people like that, and you and me in our level, what's that guidance going to be? Along the way, it's going to be having to face either the exact person or situation or similar people in similar situations where we made the mistakes the last time. The path to move from the opponent to the light, it's not comfortable. It's simple, but it's not comfortable because we have to overcome the easy things we did previously. It was easy to knee-jerk response, anger, fear, sadness, whatever it may have been. Those were easy. In order to get on the path of the light, we have to overcome the easy, the comfortable with the uncomfortable. And that's why the tunnel of the light, first, it looks like a little bit of challenge. Got to navigate, got to be conscious, right? If you were walking through a place like that with rocks and potholes, etc., you'd have to be very slow and conscious and aware and stay focused. So the same thing spiritually. We have to pause and be focused and be aware. What's the voice of the opponent telling me? What's the voice of the light telling me? We have to listen carefully. We have to be focused. That's the spiritual work. But the rewards are amazing. It's that 80 feet of greater peace and harmony, greater clarity, even if it's just to have the solutions faster. Again, we still have to correct whatever our mistakes are. But if you're connected to the light more and more, then when you've made that mistake and you're faced with that next challenge, it's going to be easier to say, pause. I want to be with the light, because the light will give us the strength, the awareness, the clarity, the guidance of how to make that transformation. How do I overcome the ego? What's the action? How do I overcome the judgment and the jealousy of other people? How do I overcome that self-judgment and self-criticism? How do I act with more humility and kindness and generosity and compassion and the strength? Because the light is our power. It's simple, my friends, simple. The light is simple. That's why Karen's book, Simple Light. Turn on the light, darkness goes away. That's all we have to do. Pause and then decide. And this is where that burning desire comes in. How valuable is the light to you? How much do you really, really want that greater sense of eternal bliss? How much do you really want a life of peace and harmony and joy? Because Satan, the opponent, is very tempting, very seductive in the beginning, makes everything look great because he shows it on the outside. But on the inside, it's not what you thought it was. So we have to be strong. We have to pause. But it's simple. I was telling this person this morning, if you think about it, how many of you right now could just look into the camera here, or look into your screen and just say, I like you. Right? I send you light. I wish you well. Easy, right? The word's easy. But now envision that the person you're in front of is the person who maybe cheated on you, maybe cheated you in business, stole some clients, the person who was nasty, was somebody that in your childhood that abused you, etc. Now, the words, I like you, I send you light, 2 minutes ago it was easy to say. Now, when you're facing that person and the consciousness is shifting, this nasty person, because of course the opponent gets in there. I don't want to forgive them. I don't want to send them light. They don't deserve it, etc. We have to remember what goes out of us will come back to us. The opponent's job is to not let the light out unconditionally, so the light comes back unconditionally. Because remember, you send light to that nasty person, you're not bringing them just an excuse or an exemption for their behavior. They're going to feel the pain of their behavior until it's so painful that they have no choice but to change. Like you and I. Why are we here now? Because somewhere along the line, even we were making effort to change. We came to a point where we felt so much pain of not being with the light, so much pain of not only the things that other people did, but how we felt, and the things we may have done in return or other things we did. When we feel enough pain of not being connected to the light, then we move ourselves into that pathway. Greater desire, greater certainty. But it is, my friends, very simple. And I want to leave you with a story to help us understand the value, one of its simplicity, and help us grow our value of being with the light. It's worth it. It's worth it to be with the light. Remember the tunnels. Sure, the one looks like gold in the beginning, and then it's nothing but rocks and pitfalls and obstacles, etc. The other one looks a little tough in the beginning, but then as you pass that part, it's peace and it's joy and it's clarity and it's certainty. So there's a story of a great Kabbalist, the Baal Shem Tov. And he was always going to really the average person. He didn't go just for the scholars. He went to bring joy, happiness, peace, connection to the light of the Creator to everybody. So he was always getting messages on going places to learn lessons. So he got this one message. He had to go to visit this person. He goes to meet this person. He takes some of his students with him, and he goes to meet this man, and he sees this man is a very simple person. He can't see anything unique or special about this person. So he says, well, maybe I'm here to just help him. So he goes and he meets the man, and he says, is there something I can do for you? Can I help you? I know things or whatever. So the man says, yes, I have this book. It's a prayer book, right? So I can pray to God, but I'm not familiar with it. I don't know how to read it really well. Maybe you can guide me. I'm not sure like how to do first thing, second thing, etc. So the Baal Shem Tov takes time with this man, opens up his prayer book and helps him find the ways, and writes the little notes. First you do this, then you do this, then you do this, etc., etc. So he's got this book now full of little papers that he's written these notes on. So he, says goodbye to the man. He goes on his way. And a few minutes after the Baal Shem Tov leaves, this man is playing with his kids. And the kids, as they're playing, they knock over the prayer book and all the notes fall out. So now he doesn't know how is he going to be able to pray and this and this. And he realizes, you know what, maybe I'll run after the Baal Shem Tov, this great Kabbalist, and he can help me put him back in order. So at this point, the students of the Baal Shem Tov had gone on, and the Baal Shem Tov's going, and he told them where he was going to meet them. So the man's racing after the Baal Shem Tov, and the Baal Shem Tov's walking down the path, and he comes to a river, right, like a small river, and he has to cross it. It's too far to go this way, etc., whatever he does. So what does the Baal Shem Tov do? Because he was this master Kabbalist, he took his handkerchief, he put it on the water, and he walked over the water with it to the other side. So as he's walking, suddenly he hears this voice calling out, Master, 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 wait for me, wait for me. And he sees this man, this simple man, on the other side of the river, catch up with him. And he says, please, Master, my kids were playing with his book. The notes fell out. Can you help me put it back? And the Baal Shem Tov looking at him like, wait a second. I know you were following, but how did you cross the river? So the man says, well, I was running after you because I wanted to catch up so you could help me put this back so I can connect to the light of the Creator, so I could pray to God, in a better way. He says, but how did you cross the river? He says, well, as I was approaching the river, I saw you ahead of me. I saw that you put your handkerchief on the water and then you walked across the water. He says, so when I came to the stream, I put my handkerchief down and I walked across the water the same way. And the Baal Shem Tov looked at him and he said, I think the way you're praying is good. It's good. And so the moral for us is, if we just have that simple certainty, if we just have that simple trust in the light is my source. I am a pure and perfect being of light. I just want to connect to the light by sharing my light in every way. The more we will be simple that way, the more we will be able to create miracles beyond our imagination, because the light is infinite. It's given us infinite bliss. It's given us everything. We simply have to open up our heart and soul, act like the light, pause. Don't listen to the voice of the opponent. Ask the light in that moment. Ask your soul to hear only the voice of the light, to be that simple person. Don't let the logic, don't let your experience, don't let the past, don't let anything else get in your mind, but simply the light of the Creator. Let us all be like that simple man and have that simple faith and trust that the light is miraculous. The light loves us all, and we can channel that light and manifest peace, harmony, and joy. God bless. So I want to take just a minute to do our meditation, right? We cannot do this without you. We cannot change the world without you, because you are the world. We need your help. We need your support to maintain the Kabbalah centers around the world, to help us with our projects of spreading the Zohar, spreading the wisdom of Kabbalah, to maintain Spiritual Sunday. It's keeping in mind we're all one, we're all in it together. We cannot do it. It's either we all go into the light, peace, harmony, joy, or we're all pulled and influenced into the opponent. It's one or the other. You and I have the great fortune that by having the Zohar, by having these tools, having this wisdom, we can pull up the people who are in the darkness and pull them into the light. This has been the mission of the center for almost 100 years, but it takes people. There were people before I came to the center 33 years ago that had contributed, helped, volunteered, made an effort to bring this wisdom to more people that allowed me to show up in the center. The same way each of you have come to the center in some way or another, found Spiritual Sunday, because people before you have helped us to create a Spiritual Sunday, to have centers in places that you became familiar with, or to touch the heart and soul and the lives of people who mentioned to you Kabbalah and shared with you Kabbalah. So it's up to us to expand that. The world is in great need. The world is in great darkness. We have the tools of the Zohar, which is the most powerful light in the universe. With your help, with your assistance, we can spread it out there. We have a project, many of you have already contributed, and I greatly appreciate it. We just need to keep expanding it. We're offering the Zohar, and maybe if some of you out there are new to this and you don't have a Zohar, you can go on Kabbalah.com, you can get a Zohar just for the shipping, because people have donated and contributed to be able to give you free Zohars for the shipping, so that you'll also, if you're having difficulties now, you'll have this tool of the light to be able to transform your life, and then as your situation improves, turn around and help others. So let's just take a moment, because I want to do a short meditation on world peace and unity. So let's just envision, I put on the chat here. If those of you whose heart is moving you to contribute, please go on the Spiritual Sunday giving page. Whatever it is you contribute, everything helps. Everything helps. So let's just close our eyes and just with gratitude, with love, with appreciation for all that the Creator has done for us, with gratitude and appreciation for what we learned here in the Kabbalah centers that's changed our lives for the better. We commit ourselves to help to make that same transformation for others. That as we do, each of us get back many, many times over what we give, what we share, because we've touched another human being, dozens, hundreds of human beings, thousands of human beings, ultimately billions, to bring them to this wisdom, the awakening of the light in their soul, the awareness that they already are pure and perfect beings of light, and the strength, the motivation, and awakening their burning desire to act like the light, unconditional love towards every human being on earth. And we open our eyes and we say, Amen. So I would like to take another moment. One, again, I appreciate it. Those of you who started a watch party, I appreciate it. I hope your friends are joining us and they'll be telling their friends, etc. You can continue even after. The video is on the Spiritual Sunday page. You can share that with other people. If you didn't get to the watch party or you didn't know how to do it, so then just go on the page and just share the video. Again, you hover over the share button and just, I think it either says on your timeline or public, and just push that button and it'll go out so your friends can have access to it. And remember, like attracts like. So when they're ready and their heart is open and they can become another beacon of light to people around them and ultimately to the world, they'll find it. So this is one of the 72 names of God. As you see, Ein Shin Lamed, it's the name of the letters. For those of you unfamiliar, the Hebrew or the Aramaic letters are not letters. They are not a construct of humanity. They are primordial energy forces, portals to the endless world, and allow light, the infinite light of the Creator, to shine through them. So as you're looking at them, the light that shines through them, Ein Shin Lamed, which is global transformation, is reaching into your soul, awakening the light, increasing the desire, the motivation, and the awareness of the great reward for helping other people to have their spiritual awakening. Okay. So if I can ask you, just close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths just to relax. Relax yourself into the power of the Creator, the light force in and around you. Feel that warm embrace. Feel the love of the Creator towards you. And let's envision Ein Shin Lamed, the power of global transformation, thereby bringing peace, unity, and harmony by awakening the light of love, the light of the Creator inside each of us, taking us up to our next level of spiritual growth, evolution, awareness, and also taking us up a notch to widen our vessels, widen our channels to bring light to the world. And let us take the light, Ein Shin Lamed, that's being awakened inside of us, and that greater clarity and certainty that we are truly one soul, that we are not disconnected in any way, shape, or form from other people and what's going on in the world. And therefore, we want to be the spiritual leaders and the great influencers. Ein Shin Lamed, channeling the infinite light of the Creator from the upper worlds through each and every one of us, and channeling it out through our hearts and soul, directly to the heart and the soul of every person on earth, unconditionally, to the place that the light of the Creator resides in them. Awakening that light, seeing it glow so brightly that the darkness that they're shrouded in, the darkness that they've been under to do negative things, that darkness is being removed from their eyes, and the light of the Creator becoming clear to them. And that inner sense of peace, that inner sense that the Creator has already given them what they need. Simply let it out through acts of love, kindness, and compassion towards all human beings. And they will have the removal of their chaos, their darkness. And in its place will be happiness, joy, health, love, prosperity, all the blessings of the Creator. Ein Shin Lamed. Intensifying this light that we send to every person. Intensifying the light as it shines out of us. And strengthening our true yearning, our most powerful desire to connect to the light of the Creator consistently, powerfully, and eternally. Seeing the world at peace and harmony. Ein Shin Lamed. Together we change the world from darkness to light and chaos to order. Engrave that vision in your heart and your soul and your mind right now. Taking one more deep breath to anchor it in your heart and soul. And as you exhale, opening your eyes. Just want to leave you, I know it's a little long today, just want to leave you with one more thought. I had the idea that many of you are not near a local center, a Kabbalah center. So what I would like to offer you is the opportunity, if you can gather a group of people, we could do like this. We can do a Zoom introduction to Kabbalah. So if you would like to do that and gather people, you can Facebook me, let me know, we can make the arrangements to take care of that. All right? I wish you an amazing day. Happy Spiritual Sunday. For some of you, a happy Spiritual Monday already. And lots of love and light and blessings. And thank you. You make the difference through the Kabbalah Center to everyone in the world. There is transformation. There are miracles happening. God bless. Have a great day and a marvelous week. And I look forward to seeing you next week.